Disclaimer: this video is not about entitlement. This video is not about attention seeking. This video is about the truth. It is said that when you're in trouble, that's when you get to know the kind of friends you have. Well, it's true, but I believe that you can always know the kind of friends you have at any given moment. All you have to do is pay close attention to whatever is happening in your life right now. Some of the things I'm gonna say in this video are gonna seem and feel and probably even look like they're pulled out of some science fiction or horror movie story, but the reality is they do happen and they are currently happening, even to you, whether you realize it or not. I have been fortunate enough in this lifetime, at my age, to know the kind of friends that I have and that I have had, and the kind of friends that I need to keep, and the kind of friends that I need to take care of in terms of getting rid of. And the reality on the ground is, guys, at any given time, you need to understand that not everybody in your life is there to stick with you till the very end, okay? Including even your spouse, including even your family members. Why am I saying this? There are some friends and even some family members who are there to basically just leech off you. And these are the kind of friends that you need to get rid of. I'm talking about friends that will borrow you money and not pay back. Friends who keep on borrowing actually and keep on not paying back, right? Because they are friends who, and like friends should, you can borrow each other money, right? As long as you pay back. However, I need to tell you something. There's an uncle of mine who at one point said that if you want to maintain true friendships, then one thing you need to do as friends is avoid borrowing money from each other. Why? The reality again is money it's like a demon. Inakujanga katikati ya watu sana. Because what happens if your BFF borrows you money and that friend doesn't pay you back? All right? Maybe they borrow you some random 10,000 shillings and they tell you, yo, movie, give me 10 G's and I'll pay you at the end of the month. What happens at the end of the month if they don't pay you? And maybe you as Paul Movie, you had already planned for that money. Okay? So that means your friend has inconvenienced you. Maybe that money was for your rent, that money was for your school fees, your daughter's school fees, or for whatever purpose. If this person happens not to pay you back, they have inconvenienced you. And yes, they are your friend and you might feel sorry for them or you might understand their situation, but it has created something about that particular individual that will be difficult to shake from your mind. And what happens if this person does it over and over and over again? Well, your friendship at one point will come to an end. Yes, you might still keep contact. Yes, they might still be calling you and you might still be answering their calls. But will you ever look at that person the same way again? My answer to that is definitely not. Because I've had such friends. Someone calls you, oh, Niaje, skumia me this money, I'll pay you this time. Then they don't pay. Anyway, this video wasn't about money. I've had like four last videos rather, where I spoke about, what money does, and especially in a relationship. Okay? And that also applies even to your spouse, even to your brothers and to your sisters. Because if your bro, your sis keeps on borrowing you money and they never pay back, well, that is a definite problem. Another kind of friend you need to get rid of is a friend who gossips all the time, even with you. There are friends who will call you because they want to share information with you about someone else. And sometimes that information is not necessarily rosy. It could be, did you hear that Kevo lost his job? Did you hear that Kevo wamekosana na wife amemwacha? Did you hear that Susan has done this? Now, this is very common with women. Women will always gossip 24/7. Hey, did you see Movie's new car? Oh, did you see Movie's, new wife? Oh, did you see this and that? To some extent, when women do it, it's kind of understandable. But does it make it okay? In my opinion, I don't think so. Friends shouldn't be friends where you have to discuss each other. Okay? There are certain friends who will also call you and start asking you things about your life, and they won't share anything about their life. Yes? They'll call you up again. Niaje Mbuvi, siku mingi. How have you been? Siku hizi uko wapi? Unaishi wapi? I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to ask your friend how they are doing. No, don't get me wrong. The problem comes when you start wanting to know intimate details about this person. Ule dem nilikuwa naye siku hizi yako wapi? Ala, mliachana? Bado mko pamoja? Na ule dem ako aje? I get the whole idea of wanting to know how your friend is doing and how they're doing with their partner, and that's totally normal. But if that person doesn't volunteer that information, imagine stop digging. Imagine stop asking how my girlfriend is. Imagine stop asking how my wife is, whether she cooks for me. There are guys who do that, yeah? Wewe nakupikianga. Na. Bro, why are you doing this? Like, why are you getting in? Why do you need these intimate details about my partner? If I haven't told you, then clearly it has got nothing to do with you. Because these are the kinds of people who will get information from you, then call someone else and start discussing you. Ulisikia mbuvi aliachwa na bibi yake? Ulisikia mbuvi wife yake sijui amefanya nini? Haya, umesikia mbuvi manzime kwa miaka 6 bibi yake hajazaa. Why is that information relevant to you? Like, you need to ask yourself, what value does it add to your life? If you know whether I am with my chick or not, how has that affected the economy of Kenya? I believe that you should be asking me about my biashara. Ask me about my biashara, but I'll tell you. How is your business doing? Nowadays I see you're exporting things to Uganda. How did you get that connection? I see you have a tender with Nairobi County. How did you, those are the kinds of information that will actually help us. Because if you want to know how I got my tender, I'll teach you how to do tendering, and you will get money which will improve your life, which will improve your status with your wife, but not asking me about my woman. Friends who call, friends who call to ask you about your chick, to ask you about your children, where are you taking that information? It's mind-boggling. Those are the same kinds of friends who will end up sleeping with your partner. And I know this sounds crazy, but get it from someone who's been there, done that. And when I say been there, done that, I don't mean that I'm the one sleeping with people's wives. No, I mean there are people who will call you to ask you about your chick so that they can see, and especially for the guys, this happens a lot, even with women. They will call to understand the weaknesses of your relationship. Siku hizi wife yako anafanyanga nini, ako wapi, saa ngapi, anafanyanga nini, so they can know whether your relationship is stable. They can know the cracks, where they can penya, where they can get in, where they can destroy. And sometimes you, even as a dude, you will divulge that information innocently. Talking about bedhi unajua venye nimesota mazara sijapeleka wife out in a while, gender movie. That is where the enemy starts realizing, okay, so movie's chick might be lacking in this area and that area. Then what happens? These are the same ninjas who will call up your woman, take her for that movie that you couldn't take her for that pizza that you couldn't take her, and end up smashing. So guys, these people who keep on talking to you about your personal, intimate life, please cut them off. There are people, and now this is why I said that it might get tricky for people, especially who are not spiritual. There are people who will get into your life so that they can destroy you spiritually. What do I mean? And this is probably a topic that we can do a separate video for. I know this sounds crazy, especially if you've never encountered something like witchcraft, uchawi, or mgange and all that nonsense. In this day and age, do you know that there are people who consult these wagangas and they go and they do some in Kikamba we call it medombi. They do things so that they can disrupt your spiritual realm. Yeah, come and break your marriage using that other side, that other spiritual side. And this sounds crazy, and that's why I'm saying this one needs a whole video by itself. But have you realized there are friends who call you at random times and ask for random things, or rather specific things, not random things, but they call specific times asking for specific things that can affect you in a specific way. You just ask yourself, if your business is not doing good, you might realize that there's a particular person. It could be a friend, could be a colleague, it could be a relative. Someone who just calls you. And when that conversation happens or that interaction happens, a few hours later, a few days later, even a few weeks later, things just go wrong in your life. Munakosana na bibi, munakosana na watoto wanagonjeka, biashara inaharibika mahali, kazini unafutwa ama unaandikiwa barua. You know, something weird just happens. And if you dial back, hey, you know, this one needs a different kind of perspective. If you dial back, you will realize that there's a specific person or specific people who always interact with you before things go wrong. I will make a separate video for this conversation, but you need to definitely cut those people off. Another group of people that you might need to cut off are people who give you bad influence. You remember in school, especially for us who went to boarding school, there are individuals who would play with you during the day, during preps, they don't even study. Then at night, those guys do what? Start studying when everyone else is asleep. I remember in Patch, preps zetu because nisha 10. Do they still end at 10? I think they still do. Yeah? And at 10, you're tired because you've been playing the entire preps. You just want to go and sleep. Yes? You endo temunendo na chapa your cold shower, then get into bed. There are some ninjas. That is the time now they go and study. And unfortunately, even out here, the same is happening. Someone will always disrupt you. And it could be even a colleague at work. Whenever you're trying to get down and do your business, someone just comes in and they want to. That's when a kaplot shows up. Hey, moving aji, twende tukakunywe, you know, taska mbili. Twende tukafanya hivi. Tuishie kwa kina nani. Twende tuka road trip. And I just realized there are people who are like that, and they're like that intentionally. It is not in their nature. No, they always do that because they want to bring you down. And that's why I said in the beginning of this video, it might sound like science fiction. Some of these things might sound like they were pulled from a movie. But I am being very honest with you guys. Me and I realized that if you've ever found me walking in the streets of Nairobi, you will either see me with my babe or alone. And it's not because I do not have friends. I have very good friends, by the way. But my legit friends, we rarely see each other. But their friends, me, I honestly avoid. Mimi nitaku avoid roho safi. And it's not because I cannot tell you off. It is just because I just do not have that time to start wasting with you. Me, I leave you. I leave, you know, God to deal with you. And of course, I use my intelligence to deal with you. I do not have to tell you to, you know, push you away. But you will just realize you will never get to me. And it is because I realized that there are some individuals who will intentionally bring you down. And they will do it like they will wake up and decide, how do I bring Mbuvi down today? As I finish off this video, the other friend you need to cut off is someone who's always undercutting you, someone who's always undermining you, someone who, when you're trying to do something good, they will always tell you that's not good enough. They will always tell you, you're unable to do that. They will always tell you, but Mbuvi, yo si yako, jaribu ile ingine. And it's not because huwezi. Of course, there are some things you will try and attempt, and at a way you can see with your own eyes and you can use your own intellect and see, okay, this one is definitely not going to work. But there are some people, because they see the threat in you, the ability in you, they see the capability that when you do that thing, you will do it and you will do it very well. They come and they tell you, hapana Mbuvi, amo jaribu cause hii inakaa complicated sana. Ufanye tu ingine. It is because that person The moment you do that thing that you want to do, that's it. You have left, you have taken off like a jet, and they will never see you again, and you have prospered. Those are the kinds of people you need to let go. And you'll always know them, by the way, because the thing that they told you not to do, they end up doing. That thing they told you you cannot do, it is them who go and do it. You wanted to start a business, you wanted to sell water on the roadside, they tell you, no, movie don't, water, now who, see what wako na maji kwa nyumba yao, so not. The next thing you see, same person, selling same water, same road you wanted to sell. The moment you realize those kinds of individuals, by the way, do not keep them. By the way, yato sisikia ibu, just cut them. Mwambie toka pa shetani wewe. So guys, like I told you, in this particular vlog, in this particular channel, I'll be telling you my life experiences. Hopefully, there's someone out there who wants to be here, who's not been there. And this particular experience, instead of you going through 16 years of stress, I did the 16 years so that you do not have to. So remember, there are some people you honestly and definitely need to cut off. Thank you. See you in the next one.